Hey, it's Bill, and here's my thoughts on a 6-5 come-from-behind overtime victory for the Toronto Maple Leafs over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, I will say, I was playing darts last night. The PVR actually worked, so I was able to finish off the rest of the game afterwards. So I got to see the whole game. I did on the way to darts. Matthew Knies scored to make it 1-0. And by the time I sat in my seat, it was already 1-1. And very shortly after that, it was 4-1. I'm going to go in a little bit of a different spot here. I'm going to try to talk to Sheldon. There's probably some lessons that are learned in games. Lesson number 1. Sheldon. It's pretty clear to say that Ilya Samsonov cannot play the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think it's been very made clear. Here's what Ilya Samsonov cannot do. He cannot move laterally. He doesn't have the ability. He's top of the plays the shooter, and when they make a pass on an angle, he's nowhere near the net. Nikita Kucherov has about, 8 points on Samsonov alone in what, reasonably a period of hockey, if it gets pulled halfway through both periods. Here's a thought process, Sheldon, thought process. Let's get this through your head. Don't start Samsonov against teams that have a lateral offensive play, because Samsonov can't make the save. He played decent against Nashville. He played good against Boston. Tampa Bay ate his lunch. And the reason why they ate his lunch is twofold. One, they passed it to the guy on the offside. Like Nikita Kucherov just ate the lunch. And your defense is atrocious. And therefore, when your defense is atrocious, those plays happen. No other team. You saw it coming down Broadway on the 2 power plays where that puck was going. It's like when Ovechkin's on the side. You know where it's going. It's just that Kucherov also can pass the puck. Learn lesson. Can we please? We've probably got a couple more games against Tampa Bay Lightning. Can we make sure we don't start Samsonov? Thanks, Sheldon. Thank you. Second lesson, Sheldon. I'm really happy you listened. I got a positive spin on this because for about, it's been 11 games in the year. I thought for maybe about 10 of them that why isn't Knies playing on the first line? Bertuzzi obviously couldn't cut it. So, okay, I get the beginning. I'm going to give you a little bit of a break, Sheldon. A little bit of a break, just a little break. You didn't know what Bertuzzi was. You got sold a bill of goods. We all got sold a bill of goods. And Bertuzzi isn't available to play with Austin Matthews, with skill players. It's not going to work. Okay, you learned the lesson. It took you 10 games, and you went through Yarncak. Well, we'll talk about him in a second. Yarncak. Can't play on the first line either. I don't care what you say. He fixed the line. He didn't fix The Leafs did nothing with Yarncak on the line. I screamed and yelled about why is Yarncak on the first line for about 4 or 5 games. You finally got that through your head. And hey, here's a crazy thing. You put an offensively talented guy who can skate and get pucks, a la some other players that have been on that line. He's better than Bunting. He's way better than Bertuzzi. And look what happened. I believe even Mitchie had a 4-point night. But it was a great night for the team. The pass to Austin on the 3rd goal. Let's run this one for a little while. Now, I would love for you to switch Mitchie for Nylander. We'll get into Nylander in just a sec. Then you really got it. Then you got it. You got Matthews with Knies and Nylander. You would finally get it through your head that that's probably a really good line. But that's probably going to take you an extra 20 games to figure that out, right? So I'll sit back and I'll just take what I can get, which is Matthew Knies on the first line. Fantastic. Another lesson you should probably learn. Brayden Point is going to eat John Tavares for lunch. He's going to beat him like a rented mule twice on Tuesdays. That's going to happen because this is the difference. Brayden Point's a really good centerman, and John Tavares can't skate. So when you put John Tavares against Brayden Point, which has Kucherov as well, and you give Todd Bertuzzi, a man who can't skate either, on the same line, that ain't going to work. I take you to the first goal. Who had Hedman? Well, Bertuzzi and Tavares probably looked at each other and said, well, okay, the defenseman's breaking. Maybe one of us should stay up with the defenseman. They can't catch the defenseman. Now, we can talk about Samsonov trying to have that goal. At the end of the day, take a look at the stats. How did it work with Tavares against Point? Well, -2 for everybody, included. Well, Nylander got a -1 because he got a point in overtime. It ain't going to work. You have to, especially when you're at home, Sheldon, because you got the last change as far as I know. I get it on the road. You're screwed. I get that part of it. I saw the first game, what happened when Point went against Tavares, but that's because Cooper put Point against, he had the last change. You do not put Tavares up against Point. You just don't do it. It ain't going to work. You want, there's hard, Paul will eat them up too. Against Tampa Bay, against the deep team with forwards, Tavares is going to struggle. On that night, probably Bertuzzi as the winger, that might not work. I hope you learned that lesson too, okay? Next lesson. I don't know who this Lagesson kid is, but I'm enjoying him. Number 85. He hit. He threw another hit. What's that? I like Benoit. Didn't play horrible. You take a look at the 4-1 goals. Like, there's some really piss-poor defensive coverage in your zone, allowing cross-ice passes. Is like, I think Johan Klingberg, they said gave 6.8 feet at the blue line to a guy coming in. Well, I'm not so shocked by Johan Klingberg staying as far away from anyone that's possible. That's what he does. But it wasn't these two defensemen that cost you. It's unfortunately the big defensemen that cost you, or what we consider to be big defensemen and not. It's not going to work. So when J.K. McCabe comes back, let's take a look at Lagesson. Let's take a look. Keep him there. Can't be any worse. He actually threw a hit. Good stuff. Another lesson that you learned. Kampf is a fourth-line forward. Well done. Well done. Is Domi a third-line center? He can't be any worse than Kampf as a third-line center. So put Kampf where he deserves to be, fourth-line center. By the way, Kampf had a horrible game. He was atrocious. But at the end of the day, on a fourth line, it's way better than the third line. Nick Robertson has talent. See, that's the you got someone who's got talent. I get it. He's consistent as, well, he's consistent as your lines. You know, you move him all over the place during a game. But let him in the lineup and leave him there, for God's sakes. It can't be any worse than what's there right now. You're telling me that Robertson can't play over Amberg, Reeves. Poor Gregory's the only one on the fourth line that can actually fly. You should probably switch him out. The third line, by the way, Jarnkrok, not bad on the third line. I'll take him on the third line, fourth line. Third, fourth line, I'm good with him. He got to bang home. He went to the net and got 2 goals. One goal was a huge one. Robertson with a beautiful play. Domi made a nice pass. Robertson let it rip, and Jarnkrok put it home. No problem with that. Leave that. There's no way that Calle Jarnkrok should be anywhere near a first or second line. Can't happen. Just can't. Third line, fourth line, we'll get through it. Well-learned lesson there. The next lesson. Joseph Woll is a really good goalie. He has a potential to be a very good goalie. If he loses a game, so what? Put him in the next game. You can't go back to back to back to back to back. I think that's going to screw up Samsonov too. Pick a week. You got 3 games this week, or you got 4 games this week. Give Woll 3. He basically played that game, Tampa Bay. So give him 2 of the next 3. He plays 3 or 4. He plays 2 out of 3 every game. 66% of the games should go to Woll. Should happen. The next lesson in life, or next lesson for the Leafs, they're still soft. Unbelievably soft. It was a great comeback. Matthews is good. Matthews and Marner and Nyes were all over the place. Marner's probably best game. They played a fantastic second period. The reason why, I think Marner and Matthews and Nyes were on for like half of it. The only time that it turned was when they threw the Tavares line on. Just make that switch, Marner for Nylander. We could be cooking with a little bit of grease. And I don't know what you're going to do on that defense. That defense is like when Lagesson's your best defense, but I'm including Riley. Like last night, Lagesson was the best defense. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. The defense can't get better unless we get someone from the minors or a draft pick that turns into a crazy, or we get some crazy trade. I can't believe I'm saying this, but maybe Connor Timmins can add to the freaking line. Oh boy, Connor Timmins going to add to the lineup. Can't be any worse than the rest. So if J.K. McCabe needs about 3 more weeks to heal that groin, let J.K. McCabe take that 3 weeks to heal that groin. Anyways, they play on Wednesday. Cheers. Good comeback victory. What can I say? 6-5. If you told me at 4-1 when I was getting ready to play my darts in the second period, I couldn't believe when all of a sudden I heard cheer, cheer, 4-3. And then I heard 5-4, and I'm like, oh boy, I can't wait to watch that game. And when I watched it, I saw what happened. So good comeback. Cheers. Bye.